IES batch of 1993 and currently working as a senior economic advisor in the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. I'll be giving again a detailed introduction of all the others. Again, of Ma'am, Ananda Ma'am in details. First, let me introduce all the speakers, and then we have Ms. Aparajita Priyadarshini, who is IES of 2015 batch and currently working as the Deputy Director in the DEA, Minister of Finance, Government of India. And we have with us Dr. Vikas Kumar Malik, IES batch of 2015, currently working as Deputy Director in DEA, Minister of Finance, Government of India. And then we have with us Ansuman Kamila, who is currently IES of 2020 batch, currently working as the Assistant Director in the Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India. And we have with us Sri Ansuman Sharma, IES batch of 2022, and currently working as Assistant Director in the Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India. So that's how we have got a very distinguished speakers, starting from very senior IES officer to very young and fresh IES officers, because there is a change in the question pattern, and so that's how we will get actually experience from very senior people to the very young people, and so before I get into the details of the program, now may I invite the President of Odisha Economic Association, Professor Ravinaran Patra, to have his initial remarks. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. It is early evening exactly, late afternoon. I start with the simple fact that we are what we are because of the contributions and the goodwill of many, starting from our parents till where we are educated and now where we are serving or where we are working. So serving the nation, that is serving all of them, for whose goodwill we have reached this stage, is really a matter of pride. And I think it is our utmost duty to serve. The IAS cadre is the knowledge pool of experts who have deep knowledge of economics, and they are expected to use their analytical skills and experience for making policies for the government. In fact, the Indian Economic Service offers a chance to them to contribute to a country's economy in a unique way and in a very big way also. It is an opportunity to be a part of the formulation and implementation of government policies in economic and social sectors, and in their efforts to reshape the economy. The various areas where they can facilitate and work to leverage their knowledge of economics relates to finance, social sector, that is education and health, rural development, agriculture, industry, trade and transport, information technology, and very recently the AI. So these are the areas, and these are not inclusive. They can make contributions in various fields where they are assigned the responsibility. So apart from working for the government, they are also deputed to serve various domestic, international organizations like United States, and they can make a very impactful contribution to economic policy. And it also offers them an opportunity to continuously engage with economic analysis, research, and policy. And that is what is the beauty of this service. It earns them wealth, prestige, and professional recognition. There is no problem for them in dealing with the public directly, which the other administrative say branches have. So they can work really for the good of the people without any selfish interest in them. I thank you with this. I am thankful to all the resource persons who will be gracing the occasion and to the participants. Our endeavor will bear fruit if they can benefit from this discourse this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for telling the aspirants about the relevance, the importance, the significance of the Indian Economic Service. Now, coming to the main program, counseling program, we have thought actually that we'll do this session in two ways. One is that the aspirants should know the job profile of an Indian Economic Service officer, because although we know like how Indian administrative service or IPS people know do the job, what is the rank they rise to, but many people do not know about the job profile of an Indian Economic Service officer. So in the first part, we will quickly know from the senior officers, Indian Economic Service officers, about the job profile of an Indian Economic Service officer. So today we have with us the chief guest of this counseling program, Srimati Nandita Mishra. So I will give a brief introduction about the speaker, and then I will invite her to speak about the job profile of the Indian Economic Service. Srimati Nandita Mishra, an IAS officer of 1993 batch, is currently working as a senior economic advisor in the Department of Food and Public Distribution, Government of India. She has over 30 years of development sector professional experience in economic administration, covering various ministries of Government of India. It ranges from Minister of Labour, Minister of Industry, Niti Aayog, Minister of Urban Development, Minister of Women and Child Development, Minister of Corporate Affairs, Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, and currently with the Department of Food and Public Distribution. She has led India's delegations to Algeria and Spain in PPP in water supply and sanitation, to Bhutan on sustainable development, to Nepal and Bangladesh on cross-border trafficking, and to Maldives, Sri Lanka and South Africa on women-friendly cities, besides being sent to lecture in Institute of Repute in Netherlands, France, Italy, Belgium on various economic-related issues. She has served as international advisor through UNDP in Government of Afghanistan, and being based there in crisis-ridden and strife-torn Afghanistan in the years 2008 to 2009. Her contribution to the cause of women and children development in Afghanistan was immensely appreciated, and she was again invited as advisor to the Minister on Women and Children's Issues in Afghanistan in 2013. As part of her service career, she was sent to University of Berkeley, California in 2018, Stanford School of Public Policy, Duke University, USA in 2016, London School of Economics in 2012, University of Ohio, Columbus, and University of Brandeis, Massachusetts in the summer of 2011 to share the Government of India perspectives in international scene. In Delhi University, where she was pursuing her mid-career master's in public policy and sustainable development in 2010 and 11, she won the gold medal by topping her batch of civil servants and policymakers. So I think with that brief note about the career and profile of Srimati Nandita Mishra, now I invite ma'am to speak about the job profile. In fact, when I was reading the profile of ma'am, the participants must have realized actually how diverse can the career of an Indian Economic Service Officer be? So with that, okay, first of all, I thank ma'am for joining with us on a holiday, Sunday. It's off day for all of all the officers, and they work throughout the week, very hectic schedule. And in spite of all that, all the speakers have kindly agreed. And now I invite ma'am to share her experience and speak about the job profile of an Indian Economic Service Officer. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, you can unmute and.
Good evening, Professor Patra and Professor Das. I see my very brilliant colleagues and fellow students of economics. It is with great pleasure that I address you today on the myriad career opportunities awaiting all of you who are in this path of economics. This field not only presents a wide array of professions, each presenting distinctive challenges and prospects for growth and impact. As graduates and postgraduates in economics, you have not only gained knowledge, but also developed a very valuable skill set, highly valued in today's dynamic and interconnected society. Whether your passion lies in economic policy, data analysis, finance, or research, there exists a career path that resonates with your interests and strengths. Let us now see some of the very exciting career paths that await you. Of course, I'll be speaking on economics, but besides Indian Economic Service, what are the other career paths also? I would like you to be ready in all fields. You also try for the Indian Economic Service, but besides this, you should know what are the various fields that await you. So, after completing a master's degree in economics, you have a wide range of career options available. Firstly, it will be as an economist or policy analyst. There are opportunities in government agencies, research institutions, international organizations, or private companies where you have to analyze economic data, conduct research, and provide economic forecasts and policy recommendations. If one is keen on the finance side, then the role of a financial analyst offers an interesting work profile as well. Here, you will work in the financial institutions, investment banks, or consulting firms, and key responsibilities will include analyzing financial data, evaluating investment opportunities. Thirdly, if you're more into data science, your profile is more data science intensive, the work of data analyst, research analyst can also be explored. Similarly, another option can be business economist, which entails working in corporations or business consulting firms, analyzing economic trends, market conditions, business strategies to help companies make informed business decisions. If you have a passion for research and teaching, then working as academic researchers, lecturers is another very attractive option to pursue. This will require you to start with your PhD and simultaneously pursue a career as a research assistant, lecturer, conducting economic research and teaching courses in economics. Lastly, if you are interested in combining economics with administration, then the role of public sector economists can also be explored. Here, you will work with various government departments, ministries, including finance, trade, labor, agriculture, where you get to analyze economic policies, you have to evaluate programs, and contribute to public sector decision making. The Indian Economic Service is one of the most prestigious example of this work profile. Why Indian Economic Service? Indian Economic Service is an organized Group A service under the Central Civil Services. It was constituted in 1961 with the objective of institutionalizing a core professional capacity within the government to undertake economic analysis and render advice for designing and formulating development policies to strengthen the delivery systems and monitor and evaluate various public programs. Put simply, the service is for everyone who wants to be associated with economics and yet to have the flavor of public service. IAS officers are exposed to development issues in diverse sectors and contribute to policy making in the central government over the span of their service career. With the economic reforms having transferred the nature and domain of economic policy making in the country, the Indian Economic Service as a service provides a pool of in-house economic expertise that is well placed to meet the growing demand for analytical economic inputs for policy making in the government. This service gives one immense opportunities to experiment and learn. If an officer like me who has put in more than 30 years of service, I got to work in various from ranging from economic divisions to Niti Aayog, where it was a completely functional desk, to rural development, to urban development, to gender, to women and child, and negotiations with international organizations and other countries. To give an example from my own 31 years of service in the IES, I got opportunities ranging from handling international labor organizations, conventions, and recommendations from India's perspective while being posted in the Ministry of Labor, to working with the medium and small scale industries to industrial policy of the Government of India when I was posted in the small scale industries, small industry service institute at Rajasthan, and thereafter coming and handling the industrial policy of Government of India while being posted in the Department of Industrial Policy in DPIIT, which is called now, to handling gender related work, which had some very fascinating perspectives. Like during our tenure, we launched the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao program. I'm sure all of you must be aware of this program. This was started to reverse the various adverse child sex ratio, where the child sex ratio was very much tilted against the girl child, and the launching and the progress of the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao program, you all know, has reversed the adverse child sex ratio, and now the girl children are, the number has really increased. We also opened up the one-stop centers, those across the country and in all districts, where violence against women was addressed, and they were given under one shelter. All the services were offered. Similarly, the concept of gender budgeting was also started when I was there, and it gave a gender lens to each action of the government. From there, I was posted to the so-called glamorous corporate affairs ministry, where we formulated policies for corporate world, and we look after the corporate social responsibilities. Thereafter, I was shifted to the Swachh Bharat mission, and I was handling the Jal Jeevan mission, which had the mandate to provide free, clean drinking tap water to every household in the country. And from there, I have come to the current assignment of handling food prices and food export import of crucial food items. Here, I report to the Cabinet Secretary and the Committee of Ministers, which is headed by the Home Minister. Every Wednesday, we have our interministerial committee. It is a very important and a very secretive work. We do not share, even in our seniors officers meeting, what is done, and to control food inflation, and to control the food prices, what all steps the government is going to take, because these are very media sensitive. And in addition to all this, I also handle the media of the ministry. So for me, it's a very tight edged rope that I walk on. And why I'm telling you all this, because all these assignments give us such a beautiful flavor and such a beautiful perspective. Many times, even the Indian administrative service officers are jealous of the kind of exposure that we, being in the Indian economic service, have got. And I also want to tell you that all my assignments entailed numerous training programs, not only in institutes of repute within the country, but abroad. Some of the best institutions, because I always had a dream. I studied in Ramadevi College and Utkal University, joining the Indian Economic Service, but the service gave me exposure to visit the London School of Economics, to Brandeis, to Ohio, to Berkeley, to Duke, name any institute, and we were sent there for training. And as Professor Das has already told, my most memorable assignment was when I was made the gender advisor to the government of Afghanistan. It was under a UN assignment where the salary, which I should share here, was a tax-free salary. And the salary was in dollars. It was 10 times of what I was getting in my Government of India assignment, because I was not aware that I'll be getting that kind of salary. Yes, I could have worked longer, but my child was quite young then. I had to return back. And but they again called me in 2013. Once I went in 2008-9. So what I'm trying to say is this service gives you so much of opportunities, and there are also many key advantages of this profession. The postings are mostly based in Delhi and in the central government. That provides a stability and less likely to involve public dealing and helps one in staying in touch with the discipline. IAS provides a very balanced work profile. The role is more of a technocrat than a bureaucrat. So, if you are looking to core economics with a flavor of administration, then this should be the right profession for you. These examples represent just a glimpse of the many career paths await economics graduates and postgraduates. The skills you have honed during your studies, the critical thinking, the data analysis, the problem solving, and economic reasoning will equip you to thrive in diverse professional settings and make meaningful contributions to society. So, as you embark on your professional journey, remember that each career choice is a stepping stone towards realizing your potential and making a difference in this world. I encourage you all to explore, be open to new opportunities, and leverage your economics education to create a brighter future for yourselves and for the society. Congratulations once again on your academic achievements, and I wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors. Thank you all. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for telling your or sharing your experiences and particularly the job profile. I'm sure the aspirants to Indian Economic Service must have got very broad overview that what kind of position they can rise to, and particularly the job satisfaction. That is very much important. And what ma'am told that you are not a typical bureaucrat, rather you are a technocrat. You provide the technical inputs to the government, and you basically help the government to make, say, what you call scientific or evidence-based policy making. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us in spite of your busy schedule and sparing your holiday with us. Now I would invite Dr. Vikas Kumar Malik. Dr. Vikas Kumar Malik is an Indian Economic Service batch of 2015, and currently he is working as the Deputy Director in Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. Dr. Vikas Kumar Malik holds a PhD in Economics from the Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. He currently serves as a Deputy Director in the Financial Markets Division of the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. Prior to his current role, Dr. Malik was an assistant professor in Delhi University, teaching international economics as an assistant director at the Ministry of Labor and Employment, where he significantly contributed to the calculation of national floor level minimum wage in 2018. He recommended setting a national minimum wage at 375 rupees per day, a figure that has since been a pivotal reference in the ongoing minimum wage debate in India. Dr. Malik has also presented India at the International Labour Organization, showcasing his expertise on the global stage. In his present capacity, he focuses on the commodities derivatives market. His key achievements include playing a crucial role in establishing the gold spot exchange in India, notifying commodities eligible for derivatives trading, and spearheading skilling initiatives within the commodities derivatives market. Additionally, he actively represents India in various forums related to financial markets with a particular emphasis on commodities derivatives. So, with that brief profile of Dr. Vikas Kumar Malik, now I invite him to speak on the job profile, and also you can also share some tips to the aspirants about how should they prepare. Although this will be the initial round will be a brief discussion, but then we'll have a question answer session at the end where participants can raise a lot of questions so that you all can clarify. Over to you, Dr. Vikas.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Amanda, sir?
Please go ahead.
Good evening, uh, President of Odisha Economic Association, Professor Patra, and Secretary Amrendra sir, and respected Nandita Misra ma'am, and my fellow colleagues, Angshuman, Aparajita. Thank you for this opportunity that I understand the audience are mostly here to know the preparation tips for Indian Economic Service. Though I have been assigned with to speak about the job profile, let me speak that this is one of the organized group A service of Government of India, and it is parallelly run with Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service, and all other service that you might know. But the point is here, if you want to qualify for Indian Economic Service, you must have a post-graduation degree in economics. Unlike other civil services that is there, which requires only undergraduate level of studies. So once you have had a postgraduate in economics, definitely you understand the economics for the betterment of society. So when I started, I would like to share with my experience and my journey how I started. So I started from zero. I graduated from science. I never studied economics at all. I started my career from understanding MA in economics. So I started from Odia book. So what is cost, what is revenue, what is indifference curve, what is all other things, and I try to understand from the perspective that does really reading economics will make people's life better. So everything now we talk in the world scenario is economics. So if you are a student of economics, finance, statistics, the opportunities are quite high and really better for you. So but is the subject really give you a pan India thinking? So when let me start my first posting as a professor in Delhi University. So I started teaching international economics. So after that, when I thought, no, I have to join government for a direct impact that I can create, if any. So I started joining in Ministry of Labor. So labor was very core to my heart. So I, in initial days when I was in Odisha, so my family was really not good. So I understand how people are doing hard work in the field, in the mid sun and all. So I thought so many people are in India are really undergoing in poverty line. So many people are under poverty line. So are they actually really getting the minimum wage they need to get? So I found yes, there is a gap and we need to work on that. So this kind of exposure the service gives you. If something is close to your heart and you really want to work for them, so there are a lot of ministries. You can go to rural development, you can go to labor, you can go to consumer affairs, you can go to Ministry of Finance. So your interest will bring you, or will shift you to that place where you really can work. So from it is different from in that way from Indian administrative service, police service, or other service. So in Indian administrative service, in your initial phase, say you will handle a district, but from your initial days in this service, you have to have a pan India thinking. Without that, you may not able to deliver the way you are expected to deliver. So from a micro unit, from a district to a macro unit like a large nation like India, you must have that kind of thinking whenever you are given any assignment. So you cannot do any kind of assignment with a very narrow kind of thinking, or a narrow kind of explanation in your mind, or if only theoretical perspective in your mind. So your learning from should come from the different aspects of life. So whether you are talking to a lot of people, whether you are reading, whether you have that kind of rural and urban experiences, whether you are keen into social developmental work, whether you are keen into how economics can make life better. So all fragment you have to actually combine, then you can think that this service gives you that opportunity to think. So at my current job profile, let me share you. So suddenly I was shifted from Ministry of Labor to Ministry of Finance. So there I was suddenly given the financial markets assignment. So I knew nothing. Then I had to again work, again study all the requirements that I can actually match the kind of job requirement that is needed. So then I started working, and I'm very fortunate that I was given very new assignments, and I was successful in delivering my assignments. So in that way, as the aspirants are here and mostly from Odisha, I understand the kind of background they have, and I would say, see, it's a job, no doubt, it's a job, but it's more than that of a job that you are thinking. So any kind of job you can earn a salary, you can have a good life with that money, but the kind of exposure this gives, or the kind of opportunity this the service gives you, is enormous. And you can really from here, you can really how your work is, as Amrendra bhai just mentioned. So in Anup Satpathy committee, I played very important role recommending rupees 375 per day as a minimum wage to every kind of occupations. Now, it should be a benchmark. So you can understand that number is still referred in any article you read about Narega, about wages, about anything. So this is a reference material, and this is a reference report that you can say that which has created a debate in India. So that from the very early career you get that opportunity. So this service gives you that opportunity from the very early career. So I have assigned 10 minutes, so I have only 2 minutes. Let me just complete by saying how you will approach to this job. So see, for any job, the syllabus is important. First of all, download the syllabus. I would ask the aspirants, read one by one the syllabus, refer very standard books, and then understand that what you are reading or understanding, what is the real life experiences that you see or come across. For example, I can say in respect of Indian economy. So Indian economy is all about what you are experiencing in your daily life, what you have read in theory. So understanding poverty or understanding hunger are different things. So if you really don't understand or don't realize what hunger is, how much you read about poverty doesn't matter. So then only you have an empathy in your life that yes, if you are working in a desk, you must have that empathy that you can actually have and mark on millions of lives. So having said that, I wish all of you all the best. And anything I have written a whole blog how to prepare Indian economic service one by one, chapter wise I have written. So I would happy to share it with all of you even if you require, and I will happy to take some questions when at the end of every speaker's speaks. Thank you for this opportunity, Odisha Economic Association, especially Mr. Amrendra Bhai and Patra sir, and looking forward to engage with you in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vikas, for sharing your both actually experiences on job as well as actually tips how to prepare for this job. Now I would invite now Srimati Aparajita Priyadarshini, and Srimati Aparajita Priyadarshini is an IES of batch 2015 and currently working as Deputy Director in the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. And if I give again a quick background of her education, she did her undergraduation from Marsagai College, Kendrapada, and she did her MA in the Department of Analytical and Applied Economics, Utkal University, and where Aparajita was a student of mine. And then she went to JNU to do her MPhil in the CSRD from 2012 to 2014, and she joined the Indian Economic Service in 2015. And I think, as far as I know, she is also enrolled as a PhD candidate in JNU. I think although she has not completed her PhD. Yeah, and then to start her work, she worked as an assistant director in the Department of Commerce, Minister of Commerce and Industry from 2007 to 2020. Then currently posted as Deputy Director in the Minister of Finance, and she's handling two divisions, multitasking officers, financial sector reforms and legislation division, and investment division, where international investment treaties and framework section and foreign trade investment section. So, with that brief note about Srimati Aparajita, now I invite her to share basically ideas on the job profile of Indian Economic Service and also a few tips for the aspirants. Over to you, Aparajita.
Namaskar, Namastanku. First, I would like to thank my teacher, Amarendra sir, and I can see Mithali ma'am is also present here, and Ravi sir, and the whole Odisha Economic Association team for creating such a great initiative regarding this economic service counseling session. I'm grateful to the association for providing me this opportunity to contribute whatever little way I can. So already my senior colleague Nandita ma'am and Vikas provided a very good insight into the history and service profile. So let me just add some few more facts about the service, like the structure of Indian Economic Service and what the service is all about, and the training of Indian Economic Service officers. So already you know it's the organized two-pay central civil service, and the cadre controlling authority is Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance. So one distinguished feature of our service is the officers are spread across 72 ministries or departments, and obviously they are posted like their work assignment includes finance, economic affairs, commerce, industry, external affairs, social sector such as health, education, rural development, urban development, and the list goes on. So, in addition to the cadre post, officers also go on deputation basis to international organization as well as the state organization and different regulatory bodies also. Say, for example, SEBI, Competition Commission of India, insurance like IREDA, and international organizations such as human bodies. So they are basically economic service people, like officers are the in-house economic expertise of government of India. So in that capacity, they contribute to the policy making, like evaluation of different evidence-based policy and all. So let's come to the structure of economic service office. Like economic service officers, so when they join as assistant director. So with promotion, they get promoted to deputy director, then joint director, then director, economic advisor, senior economic advisor, and principal or chief economic advisor. So the service is headed by chief economic advisor. And if we come to the training point, so the economic service officers really undergo a rigorous training program of 16 months. first they go to Masuri or MCR HRD, that is Marichanna Reddy Human Resource Development Institute, Hyderabad, for their foundation course. Then we go for training to Institute of Economic Growth, Delhi, and we get attached 1 to 2 weeks attachment with various organizations. Let's say Reserve Bank Staff College, SEBI, National Institute of Securities Market, National Institute of Banking Management, and also 2 to 3 weeks of training conducted by IMO. And we have also foreign training of 2 weeks there in Civil Service College, Singapore. So it gives you really a good opportunity if you want to contribute to the policy making of the country. And if you see, in my current profile, Minister of Finance as a deputy director, I deal with different bills. Let's for example, financial consumer protection bill or financial resolution and deposit insurance bill, where each and every word matters. So even if in international negotiation, whatever the text of negotiation, each and every word has so much varied interpretation. So you work on word by word, like how it will be beneficial to the country. So I think it will give you really good opportunity, best opportunity if you want to do a career in economics. So as Amrita sir told me, to give some lessons on this service preparation. So I can, as I have studied in Odisha, so I could connect with all of you. I'll just suggest one thing. Sometimes you feel like, let me complete all my masters and this course, then I'll prepare for exam. So I'll just suggest side by side, when you are pursuing your master's course, at that time, all things is very fresh. So you know each and every theory by heart. So once you come you completed your masters, then you joined in the MPhil course or PhD course. So when you are so much into research, so basic economics, we have the habit of forgetting. So it's better you should prepare during the master's course only. And this service, if you want to have so people want to okay, it's okay, now I have master's degree, I want to pursue PhD and all. The service also provides you enough opportunity to pursue future, further career, be it PhD, be it postdoc. If you have a PhD, you could also go for postdoc by taking study leave. Or if you want to have a course master's course in public policy and all, you could go abroad. So yes, and I hope all of you, all the aspirants who are present here, give your best, and we expect more and more ODI students should present in economic service. Wish you all the best, all of you. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Aparajita, for sharing your experiences and also for telling the participants actually how, what is the career path or say the ladder actually they can ride to reach actually to the topmost position in this Indian economic service. Thank you so much. Now, may I now, okay, now I'm going to invite Sri Anshuman Kamila. Anshuman Kamila is an Indian Economic Service Officer of 2020 batch. He was the topper of IES 2020 and now currently working as the Assistant Director in the Cabinet Secretariat, Government of India. In fact, I know Anshuman from his school days, so I have a lot of things to say about Anshuman. Anshuman, like I told you, Anshuman was the topper of Indian Economic Service 2020. So I say that Anshuman is a topper throughout his career, starting from his school to college. In fact, he studied in the Saint Stephen's College, his graduation, and he went to the Delhi School of Economics for doing his masters, and he went to JNU for doing his MPhil, and after that he joined RBI, and then from RBI to Indian Economic Service as a topper. And Ansuman has won different medals actually. As I was telling that he has been a topper throughout his career. He has won the President of India Gold Medal for the best officer training in Missouri among all the services. It's not that confined to only Indian Economic Service. It covers all the services. And then Director's Gold Medal for standing fifth in order of merit. Then Sagai Laden, I think I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Then I'm skipping that. So, and then gold medal for Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. And I know actually in St. Stephen's, when he was a student, he has earned like the gold medal, of course. And if I remember the medal correctly, the character with success, I think that was, I think, if I remember, because when he was doing graduation, I was in touch with him. And now coming to the career, Sri Ansuman Kamila started as his job as Assistant Director in Economic Division, Department of Economic Affairs, Minister of Finance, and currently he is working as an Assistant Director in the Cabinet Secretariat from 2020 till date, 22 to date. So now with this brief introduction about Sri Ansuman Kamila, I invite him to basically speak in details, because Ansuman is not, he is basically a first, IAS officer, and most importantly, he has been topper actually throughout, starting from his school to the IAS. So he can tell us like how to prepare for the Indian Economic Service, both actually say how to clear the written examination and how to prepare for the interview, what kind of books actually people can read, and so all those things actually I think I would request Sri Ansuman Kamila to speak on all those things. Over to you, Sri Ansuman.
Namaskar to one and all present. Respected President of the Odisha Economic Association, Rabi sir, respected Secretary sir, respected Nandita ma'am, my senior in the service, my senior colleagues, Dr. Malik and Praitanani, my friend from the service, Anshuman, and all my dear young scholars and students of economics. Much has been said about me. I mean, I'm somewhat afraid of saying anything emphatic or anything influential in front of so many scholars, so many seniors of mine who they have seen me as a kid, and they have seen me grow not only in the graph of economics but also graph of life. So I feel a little bit intimidated by their presence, but the topic that has been given to me is rather specific, so I will try to do justice to what has been given to me, and I'll share my thoughts with regard to that. My seniors in the service, Nanta ma'am, Dr. Malik, and Pretanani have spoken in great detail about a lot about the Indian Economic Service. Before I begin, I'll just like to bust 5 myths about the Indian Economic Service, which is perhaps prevalent because of the nature of the service or because of the nature of postings that Indian Economic Service offers. These are myths which I want to bust through today's session. First myth is that Indian Economic Service is a new service. I think that myth has already been busted by Nandita ma'am when she initially in her remarks she said that the Indian Economic Service was instituted in 1961, and that way the Indian Economic Service predates the Odisha Economic Association. So Indian Economic Service has been in operation since then. I think the regular recruitments began in 1962, and for all these years Indian Economic Service has served as the economics steel frame, so to speak, in the governance of this country. That's the first myth. Second myth is that Indian Economic Service is only for the people who have studied in Delhi-based economic institutions. I think that's a very big myth, and that needs to be busted as soon as possible, because it is not true. It is as far from the truth as it can get. In fact, if you look at the notification for the Indian Economic Service, which has been released about 2 months ago, and in fact, the sharing of this notification on the WhatsApp group by Dr. Patra was the catalyst for this session to be organized, and perhaps the catalyst for future such sessions to be organized. So if you look at the notification, if you look at the eligibility criteria, it nowhere mentions that you need to have a master's degree in economics from only such and such institution to be eligible to be drafted into the Indian Economic Service. That is certainly not true. Of course, it is a fact that many of the colleagues that I have seen over the batches tend to come from some of the Delhi-based economics institutions. But I think it is also a fact that there are many others who come from places, who have studied from places apart from these Delhi-based institutions. In fact, the Indian Economic Service is also one service, central service, which has boasted of several ODIs who have played their very important role and vital role in the making, formulation, and implementation of economic policy and nation building through the Indian Economic Service. And also, there are many friends of mine who come from other states like Kerala, Punjab, and many such other states who have not necessarily studied in any of these Delhi-based institutions, yet they have sailed through the very tough examination conducted by the Union Public Service Commission and made their way into the Indian Economic Service and continue to serve the government, the nation with gusto and pride. I would just say that in the introductory remarks about me, Dr. Das mentioned that I have gained my education from Stephens, Delhi School, and JNU. But as honest as I can get, I must say that when I started preparing for the Indian Economic Service, I had to unlearn a lot of that. There was a lot of emphasis on mathematics and a lot of emphasis on econometrics that was laid when I was at Stephens or Delhi School or even JNU to an extent. And all of this had to be toned down. All of it had a lot of it had to be unlearned, and a lot of emphasis had to be given on economic economic intuition and basic logic and a historical perspective about economics, etc., etc. So I would like to bust this myth that it is not required for any of you to study from a Delhi-based institution or really any other economics institute of repute, quote unquote repute, in order to get into the Indian Economic Service. So please put your fears to rest and stride forward in the path of preparing for the Indian Economic Service. The third myth is that the syllabus for the Indian Economic Service is not Indian Economic Service exam is not covered in the universities of Odisha. That myth also needs to be busted, because I clearly remember some 4 or 5 years ago when I was at home for my holidays, Dr. Patra and many other economics teachers sat together, brainstormed, and came up with a model syllabus for Odisha, which should be replicated and or modified for all the universities of Odisha at the MA level or even below the MA level, which now places the students in Odisha at a very comparative advantage vis-a-vis a lot of the other students in other states. Therefore, our syllabus in Odisha has for economics education has been revamped, has been upgraded to perfectly suit the requirements of the Indian Economic Service. In fact, after I had cleared the service in 2019-20, I have said this very openly in some of my interactions to the media that the syllabus of economics education in Odisha has been significantly redone, not with a particular perspective to enable people to write the Indian Economic Service exam, but the good part about having redone the syllabus is that all the students who are currently studying economics in Odisha are now able to find that the Indian Economic Service syllabus is not intimidating. It's not a very difficult water to wade through for them. The fourth myth is that the Indian Economic Service, primarily because the word Indian associated at the beginning, allows you opportunity to serve only in the government of India. I think that myth has already been busted quite significantly and to a great degree by Nandita ma'am's initial remarks. I would just like to add that as you progress in your career and if you show the inclination, the sky is the limit. There is absolutely nothing that holds you back from making your way from the from the government of India to any other government institution, to any other research institution, to any other multilateral forum, to any other undertaking of the government, etc., etc. The fifth myth, which is the final one, and I wish to bust it, I have vaguely referred to it already, is that there is a very heavy requirement for mathematics and econometrics major students to crack this exam. Again, as I've already stated, that is not true. In fact, when you are writing the Indian Economic Service exam, it is a very useful and a good idea to keep in the back of your mind that you are not writing the exam in order to get into a master's degree institution. You are not writing the exam in order to become someone who is very good at econometric analysis or pulling off econometric tricks or techniques. But you are actually writing the exam so that you get into the technical bureaucracy of the country, and whatever you write, whatever you analyze, whatever you say, whatever you prescribe needs to be accessible, needs to be comprehensible to people who did not necessarily have a lot of understanding of econometrics, mathematics, or any economic theory that you and we have been covering for all these years. So I think these are the 5 myths I needed to bust before I go on to speak about how to prepare for the exam. And I'd just like to mention one more thing, that over a period of time, I'm sure there was a time in the past where civil service actually accounted for a very small proportion of women, or I think the other way, the women accounted for a very small sliver or a very small portion of the civil service. Over a period of time, this state of fact has drastically changed. In fact, when I went to the Masuri Academy as part of my Indian Economic Service training, I saw that there were a lot of women officers who were also training with me, and I'm very happy to say that instead of bridging the sex divide, which is the divide between males and females in the service, Indian Economic Service has actually gone a step forward, and it has actually reversed the gender bias, in the sense that in my batch alone, 66% of candidates, 66% of the officers who were inducted into the Indian Economic Service in my batch happen to be women. And I'm very proud of it. Very proud of the fact that so many women have got the opportunity to work for the nation, have the opportunity to lead the nation on various fronts in not only their private capacities, but also by providing effective leadership to their own institutions, to their offices. And what could possibly be a representation of this fact than the very reality that Nandita ma'am has been leading the discussions in today's event. So these are some of the initial remarks that I wanted to make about the Indian Economic Service as an exam. I think that let me now turn my attention towards about the examination in focus. I'm not as good as Dr. Malik in keeping time, so Dr. Das, I would request you to please stop me whenever I should, given the budgeted time that has been given to me. The examination is conducted in 2 phases. The first phase comprises of a written set of exams, which happens over a period of 3 days. For students in economics, the center for this exam can be Odisha. In Odisha, it is Cuttack, where the examination is conducted. And in the first phase, the exam is conducted in the written format, unlike the civil services exams, there is no preliminary MCQ type of preliminary exam in the Indian Economic Service exam. So you begin writing the exam with a set of 6 papers spread over 3 days, in the first two papers, it's about English and general studies, and the second set of papers is economics, and there are 4 economics papers that you have to write. I think a general reading of the Indian Economic Service exam notification will give you a fair idea as to what are the various papers covered and what are the subjects covered. That way, I would say that the Indian Economic Service examination syllabus is one of the very detailed syllabuses that the Union Public Service Commission issues for any exam that it conducts. That way, I don't think it will be very difficult for someone to, cover the vast field of economics that one has to learn about in order to get into the Indian Economic Service. The second point that I wanted to make is that there is no single source that you should perhaps rely on or refer to during the course of preparation. Every paper, every topic posits a different kind of a challenge. It gives you, it requires you to explore these topics from various sources. So it is not a very wise idea to stick to one book and that is going to be my one-stop shop for all the concerns that I have with regard to Indian Economic Service exam. No, that's not the case. So please be very diversified, very eclectic in your sources. The third thing that I wanted to talk about is it is always a good idea to start preparing by first of all referring to the past year papers. Now, the reason why I advise all of you to refer to the past year papers is that the syllabus has remained somewhat fixed for quite some time in the past, but if you look at the questions, they have been more dynamic. If you look at the questions, you will see maybe we started off by just scratching the surface in terms of a particular topic. Now the questions are being framed so that you have to know a lot more detail before you can answer a question reasonably to the expectation of the examiner. So I think going through the past year papers not only gives you a sense of which are the areas which are more focused in terms of questions that are coming in the recent past, but also what kind of approach you need to have before you approach a particular topic that has been listed in the syllabus. So please refer to the past year papers. I believe that uh, uh, a lot of books have now been released in the market where they have compiled all the past year papers. But even if you do not want to refer to any book, that way all the past year papers are available on the UPSC's website. So please go through these questions in great detail so that you know that which are the areas where you need to give more focus, which are the areas which you need to equitably give more time, and which are the areas where you can reasonably or comfortably sail through without much further study. The fourth thing that I wanted to say is that Indian Economic Service the exam requires a lot of writing practice. What I often noticed that, let me be honest, I took 3 attempts to clear this exam. Of course, the last attempt where I cleared the exam was in the assessment of some people, it was a resounding success. But I think it's very important to also focus or emphasize that I took 3 attempts to clear this exam. So I would say that while writing the exams so many times, I have also had the opportunity to interact with other fellow economics students and scholars in Odisha who are also writing the exam sitting right next to me. And I see that a lot of them came with a lot of confidence, and I'm sure they knew the subject very well. But what they often faced the biggest challenge was in being able to compress their knowledge and present it in a fashion that was acceptable or appealing to the examiner given the time frame of the examination. So every paper that you write in the Indian Economic Service exam is for 3 hours, and the ability to present your answers, present your bunch of thoughts to the examiner even in the given space and within the given time frame, I think that's very important. And therefore I would earnestly request all the students who are actively and seriously, sincerely preparing for the Indian Economic Service please allot a lot of time to write these exams, simulate an exam environment, sit without any distraction for 3 hours, and try to put down your answers in a sheet of paper so that you are able to actually accomplish the task within the constraints. So I'm sure as economic students, we all understand what is constraint optimization. So look at this exam in terms of a constraint optimization. So please give a lot of focus on writing those answers and doing it. The fifth thing that I wanted to mention, which was I think also mentioned by Apraitanani in her address, and which is very relevant, that even before you start, in right earnest about preparing for the exam or going about the examination preparation, do fall into the habit of reading the newspaper on a regular basis. I think that way what you do is you start appreciating which are the economic issues or contemporary issues of current relevance. I'm sure there must have been a time where the PSU policy of the government of India was very important, or let's say the Harrod-Domar model of development and various discourses in and around it was a very important thing. But these days, you don't find much, at least in the public discourse or in the open media, you don't find much discussion about the PSU policy or the Harrod-Domar model of development or the AK theory of growth. What you instead see is a lot of discussion about digital public infrastructure. You find a lot of emphasis on the Finance Commission because Finance Commission has recently been constituted. So I think getting into the habit of reading newspapers, that too from an economic perspective, gives you a good foundation in terms of what are the current issues of relevance or of relevance, which you need to focus on while you are covering the syllabus. So if you look at the syllabus, I'm sure in the Indian economics portion, which is I think paper 4, Ansuman, my junior colleague, will be able to give you more details about that. You will see that there is a mention about fiscal federalism. Now, the Finance Commission is a veritable part of the fiscal federalism. So, in a sense, UPSC has already conveyed to you that look, Finance Commission is going to be an important part of the exam. But only if you have read the newspapers, you will realize that Finance Commission is actually not only a part of the syllabus, but it is very much part of the current public discourse, right? So therefore, you are better prepared. You know what are the issues facing the Finance Commission. So if you read any article about the Finance Commission, there are so many people who are writing about the Finance Commission, past members, former civil servants, even academicians. Many of them are writing issues about Finance Commission. So in the process, you realize that these are the relevant topics which are being discussed for the 16th Finance Commission perspective. So the newspaper gives you that kind of a background, and also the newspaper gives you a sense of the statistics. So when we talk about GDP growth or inflation or current account deficits, etc., all of this, I mean, all these topics, we have all seen these topics from a theoretical perspective. I mean, if you pick up any basic economics textbook, you'll find GDP growth, inflation, etc. These are all very well dealt with. But how is it exactly being measured in the Indian economy? What are the challenges that are beset in the measurement of the, for example, the CPI or the GDP, etc.? Now, these are issues that you will get to know only if you have read the
जोहार भाई हमर घर के जोहार तुमको जोहार आ फोन
Uh,
कर भी
Mr. Sebak Sahu, may I please request you to mute yourself? Thank you. So the second thing is that because you are writing an exam in order to get into a service which is best described as a technical civil service, it is very important to reorient your approach, that whenever you talk about economics or whenever you talk about GDP growth, inflation, etc., you have facts and figures to your mind. You don't talk in terms of heuristics or hand waving. Oh, I know this, that. No, give us some figures. I think that way it also conveys to the examiner that you have read the papers, you have a fair idea of where the figures are, where the trends are going, etc. I think that also comes from the reading of a newspaper. So in general, anyway, I think the reading of a newspaper is a very important preparation for any other profession that you wish to take up as part of your post economics discourse. So I think these are some of the thoughts that I wanted to share with you. In terms of preparation, I have already spoken at length about the various strategies that one can adopt in two of the videos that were recorded right after I cleared the service. The reason why I don't want to get into the details of these preparation is because there has been a lot of separation between when I wrote the exam, cleared the service, and now I'm working in my various desk capacities. So I think it is possible that if I talk about my preparation strategies again, I'll be missing out on a lot of details, and that will be unfair to you. So for your quick reference, and because you can always refer to these videos later on, I am leaving in the chat box two of the videos that were recorded right after I cleared the exam. I think they will give you a fair bit of knowledge about what I have done. I have also talked about my sources and my strategies for preparation in these videos. So I'm sure that I'm hopeful that they'll be of help to you. I wish to now end by just saying that, look, when you look at my videos, don't think that that is the only route to, getting to the civil service, to the Indian Economic Service exam. No, there are several friends of mine who got into the exam with me, right after me, or they continue to get into the exam later on. And I would also honestly urge you to look at their preparation strategies. So just because just because I'm saying it, you should be looking at my strategy. No, you should craft your own strategy, craft your own way. There are several videos that are available on the YouTube. You are most welcome to take a look at all of them. I wish you all the best, and I think the discussions that we have been having is that maybe this is the first session about Indian Economic Service that we are having under the aegis of the Odisha Economic Association. If required, if there is a considerable interest, if there is a felt need, we can follow it up with subsequent sessions. So whatever it is, we are there for guiding you, for holding your hand while you go about preparing for the Indian Economic Service. With this, I think I've spoken a lot, and I would like to finish. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Sri Anshuman, for sharing in details with the participants how to prepare for the Indian Economic Service. And I'm sure the participants must have got some idea about the roadmap, the path to Indian Economic Service. Now I invite another Anshuman, Sri Anshuman Sharma. Sri Anshuman Sharma is IES of 2022 batch, currently working as an assistant director in the Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India. Sri Anshuman Sharma did his schooling from Bhubaneswar, DAV Unit 8 Bhubaneswar, and then +2 in BJB Junior College, Bhubaneswar, with science and statistics basically. And then he did his BTech from NIT Rourkela in electrical engineering, 2009 to 2013. And then Sri Anshuman did his master's in economics, basically MSc in quantitative economics from ISI Delhi from 2016 to 2018. And then he worked as a data scientist in Bharti AXA General Insurance in Mumbai. And then Sri Anshuman joined in Indian Economic Service in 2022 batch. And he worked in G20 India presidency. And he was in charge of this finance track. And then currently working in the Ministry of Cooperation as an assistant director. Thank you so much, Anshuman Sharma, for joining with us. Now over to you. I would again request you, since you are I think the most best Indian Economic Service officer, you will be in a situation to tell the participants or the aspirants about the syllabus and how to prepare for the exam in a much better way. Yeah, over to you, Sri Anshuman. Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Hi.
it's okay. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Das, for my brief introduction, and good evening to my esteemed seniors and all my colleagues joining here. So basically, I will be talking about the preparation strategy. I am hopeful that all those people who are aware of the UPSC syllabus, So there are 6 papers. One is English, basic English. Another is current affairs, and next 4 economics papers. And there are several strategies you must be aware of. And yes, as Anshuman told, you can't rely on a single strategy, and you can't rely on a single person's strategy. Strategy is depending upon yours only. Uh, I'll be telling my strategy and how I prepared. So starting with the English paper, you can't do any study. Basically, it's ingrained from your school days and your college days. So I didn't prepare English as such, and basically reading a newspaper is fine, and it will suffice. And you must target around 30 to 40 marks for English. If luck prevails, then you can increase it to 50s or 60. I know from 2023 batches, people have scored around 60s in English. So it's very unpredictable to score how much. You can't predict it, whether it's 30, 40, 50, 60. And talking about the GS paper, and GS paper is very tricky for me because I was not preparing for UPSC civil services. I know people from Indian Economic Service, generally they prepare for UPSC civil services, and they keep economic service as a backup option. I'm not generalizing, but some people I know, so they are quite strong in GS paper, and they score pretty good, like 60, 65, 50 to 60, like that score. But my score was not that great because I was only targeting economic service. So my preparation strategy was, it was simple, like economics paper, it's overlapping. And if you look at the geography paper, it's more or less there right now. Currently, they're focusing on climate change. So you can strategize accordingly, and you can study climate change paper. And if you look at the history paper, it's very difficult. You can't predict the number of questions. It can be ancient history, it can be medieval history, it can be modern history. But my strategy was focus on only modern history because it's kind of recent, and you can also connect. And if by any luck prevails, you can get 1, 2 questions. You write that, then you get around 5, 7 marks. That's fine. Then moving to polity. Polity was nightmare for me because I don't like polity. It depends whether you like polity or not. You can read Lakshmikant, but it will not. Time will be a constraint for you. You can go for any summarized note of Lakshmikant. It will suffice. Target. My focus is that target 30 to 35 marks. That's sufficient in English also. 35 to 40, and more or less out of 200, you can target around 70 to 80. If you don't get 80, that's also fine. If you get 60, 70, that's also fine. You can target more on economics papers. So basically, paper one, I will tell, as you can see in the YouTube link, I have also followed his strategy only. Anshuman's strategy. His books were really good. You can go for paper one. I have written also. You can go for paper one. Kutsuyanis. Kutsuyanis is microeconomics. It's a really good book. It will cover almost all part of the syllabus it has mentioned. And if you are studying this book, you should study line by line, word by word from the syllabus. Don't go for one book as already mentioned. You should complete the syllabus. Kutsanis was my primary book, and my secondary book was H.L. Ahuja. If I don't get any syllabus mentioned from Kutsanis, then I go for H.L. Ahuja. And part B, and that will cover almost all the part A aspect of paper one. If you go to the part B, I prefer basic econometrics for Damodar Gujarati. And one more disclaimer I will say, you only have 3 hours in the exam. It's very difficult to solve an econometrics paper right now. Currently, recently, what I have seen in past 2, 3 years, econometrics is really difficult. You can't solve in at least 10 to 15 minutes. You can't solve until unless you know exact the question you did earlier, because it's mathematical, it's time taking, it's you have to apply your mind. So my suggestion is that mostly you prefer to skip econometrics. It's all up to you. If you want to write economics, then it's fine. Then you should follow Damodar Gujarati. It's a very good book. And that mathematical part, and also in part B also, if you see some aspects are there word by word, and some missing aspect, if you don't find in Gujarati, go for internet, go for any internet material. And for mathematical part, you can study. I studied Hammond. You can go for Hammond or Chang also. Michael Chang is also good. And for input-output model, which is very frequent, they're generally UPSC ask input-output model. You can go for internet or YouTube or any books. Write those input-output model PDF, Google it, you will get a very good books. And you should think about the UPSC mindset, how they're asking the questions. They one pattern. They follow that pattern in a cycle of 5 to 6 years. And that pattern is almost which I think they have a set of questions. They repeat on that basis. I am not saying they'll exactly ask those same questions, but the lines will be similar. Like if you go to the microeconomics question, if they're asking production theory, in that range, they will ask whether they're asking numericals from production theory or they're asking numericals from consumer. They'll ask numericals only. Okay, then I will come to paper 2. Paper 2, history of economic thought. I have never read from any book. I Google it only. But if you want to read, then I have heard R.R. Paul is good, but I don't know. I have not read, so I can't say it's good book or bad book. You can refer to R.R. Paul once, or you can go for internet and make a notes. So basically, note making is mandatory. Without note making, you can't complete the syllabus. You can't write a good answer. I did note making in a 2 segment. One is complete note making. Then second note making is very concise note. Like you have ultimately you only have 3 hours. You can't read like anything and everything, and you can write in the exam hall. So one concise note should be there. Macroeconomics, Richard Freund is a very good book. You should follow that. The way the book has explained, it's very good. And if you are missing something from Richard Freund, then you can go for H.L. Ahuja, macroeconomics book. International economics, Dominic Salvatore is a good book. Everybody recommends that. Global institution, internet, all those, Google it. You can get sufficient numerous material for global institution. You can write a note on that. G20, IMF, World Bank, all those things. International crisis, I did from internet only. I read those things and made a crisp notes on that. And also HL Ahuja last pages, like I think last chapters you can get about global financial crisis, Asian financial crisis also. Development economics, I will suggest there are very good books in development economics, Devraj Ray, Todaro Smith, all those things. But I will suggest go for Jingan, because Jingan has written on the book it has written, it's more or less aligned to UPSC. Like what UPSC is asking, the chapters and all those things. But if you want to get some good content, then you should go for Devraj Ray or Todaro Smith or any other book. I referred Jingan and Todaro Smith. National income accounting, I referred HL Ahuja and IGNOU material. IGNOU study material is very good. You can go for IGNOU study material for national income accounting. If then also you don't get any topic missing, then you should go for HL Ahuja. HL Ahuja is very repetitive, so that's why I don't like the book. But for UPSC, you have to read it. You have no other option. I am coming to paper 3. Public finance is HL Bhatia and Musgrave and Musgrave. HL Bhatia, why HL Bhatia? Because it will give you the Indian touch. Musgrave and Musgrave is very good book. Conceptually, it's a good book, but it doesn't give any Indian touch. So for Indian touch, you need to read Bhatia and Bhatia, HL Bhatia, and for all those fundamental concepts, you should go for Musgrave and Musgrave. One more disclaimer, you don't have to read word by word from the book. You only have to read the selected portion in the syllabus from the book. You might buy the book, but the whole book will not suffice. You need to read some 3-4 chapters like that. Industrial economics, it will cover from the microeconomics questionnaires. And also, I bought this book very lately. It was very useful book, R.R. Barthol. R.R. Barthol, I will suggest you can buy that book, and it will cover some of the aspects which you will not find in the questionnaires. R.R. Barthol will cover. It's a complete book. It is book name is also Industrial Economics. And planning is basically mostly I read from Ramesh Singh. But you can read from Jingan or internet. But I read Ramesh Singh. I had that Ramesh Singh book from initial days. But some chapters I refer from Ramesh Singh, like this planning I referred from Ramesh Singh, like Niti Aayog and all those things. When Australia's planning commission, that is shifted to Niti Aayog. So all those transition, it was mentioned in a very concise and comprehensive manner in Ramesh Singh. Environmental economics is a very tricky part. It was very difficult for me to get some good study material for environmental economics. I have referred all those videos also. My strategy was to refer all those notes. So I did Vision I study material for current aspects. Vision I study material 365 days wala, jo 365 one. And Kolstad also not complete book. Kolstad some particular portion, IGNOU study material I've referred. I referred some materials of some previous IS officers. Like currently they are serving as IS officers, but they are like Gaurav Agrawal notes I have referred, Kumar Anurag notes I have referred, Abhishek Dudhal notes I have referred. Their notes are very good. They have very concise note. You can refer those, but I will warn you to prepare your notes. You can refer them, but you should make your own notes. I think paper 3 I have completed. Paper 4 is a very tricky paper for basically. Wait, paper 4 I have made one note. Paper 4 is basically the chapter by chapter you have to, the topic by topic you have to refer, and you need to refer different books. So paper 4, I have referred two books. One is Misra and Puri, and the second is Uma Kapila, not that big one. Uma Kapila, that small one. And the additional book will be Vision I study material, economics one, 365, social issues 365. For social issues na, like labor, bonded labor, and all those labor laws, all those things you can find in Vision I 365 social issues. That I have referred, and the Lakshmikant I have referred for federal financing. Article 37, Amendment 73, 74, I have referred only that chapter, not full Lakshmikant book. Only that chapter. And for Finance Commission, latest Finance Commission is 15th Finance Commission. You make a crisp note. You can take any coaching institute material. You don't have to read Finance Commission, the book from the PDF from the website. It's a very bulky one. That you can refer, and 16th Finance Commission is yet to out, so I don't think they will ask questions from 16th Finance Commission. And you should go for paper 4 not topic by topic, and it's very I have not read the whole book. I have read like Misra and Puri DA website for public debt management. I have referred DA. You can go for DA website. It's a very good website and very comprehensive material you can find from DEA website. You can refer to RBI website. There are also some good materials. And like urbanization, migration, all those things you can get from Vision I 365. Employment, I have read from Vision I 365. That time labor laws were there, so we used to labor laws were very frequently, and agricultural laws were there. Money and banking, inflation, all those things you can get from economic survey. Inflation I read from economic survey. Economic survey is also a very good book, good material to study. I think I have referred all those topics, and it will take time. You can refer. There are plenty of YouTube channel, and our batch has made one very comprehensive preparation strategy. You can refer that. I will share it in the chat box. And also, if you want to get the interview strategy, interview questions, you can go for that interview. How all the 15 candidates have shared their interview experiences. For my case, it was based on my work experience because I was a data scientist in insurance company, and on the top of that, I was from Odisha. So most asked questions from Odisha also. Why Odisha is so poor? What are the factors? One question was very common, and I was also asked that question. Despite Odisha having so much natural resources like mining and all those metal resources, still Odisha is back poor in compared to Western states like Maharashtra or Gujarat. They asked that question to me, and you can go for that. And so I have shared all the strategy. You can read. And also paper 3 and paper 4 you should not read from book because paper 3 and paper 4 is mostly dynamic. It should be linked to current affairs also. So from my side, I have shared, and thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Anshuman, for sharing in details about the strategy that the aspirants can adopt to clear IES. But of course, it will definitely one strategy will not fit for all. But actually, I think macro strategy would be more or less same. Similarly, there would be a lot of other textbooks and so on. So I think I should not speak much. So what now we'll do is we'll take questions. So you can raise hands. No, so there are no hand raise, no buttons. So if you raise your hands, then I can ask you one by one, and you can ask your questions. So yeah, so you can start if. So let me just look at the chat box if there are some relevant questions. Yeah, Amit Kumar Patnaik. Yes, Amit, you can unmute and ask the question.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, all the dignitaries present here. Sir, I have a question like the after joining formally, after the training, when we join Indian Economic Service, can you please again brief what is the career path and what the uh, like yes, actually after joining the service, what is the career path? That's what I want to know. Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, Amit, you are audible.
Yeah.
I think no, Srimati Aparajita Priyadarshana had told briefly, but still, okay, I will request again. Okay, maybe Ansman Kamila can take up this question.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Good question. I think Praitanani had briefly referred to this when she was discussing her portion, but basically you joined in the Government of India as an assistant director. This position, so it has also been emphasized during the course of this conversation that Indian Economic Service, the positions, the postings, the salary, perks, etc., are at par with all other central civil services, including the All India services, that is, namely the Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service, and Indian Forest Service. So once you join as assistant director, then you subsequently get promoted to deputy director. Then you become a joint director, then director, economic advisor. Then you go on to become a senior economic advisor. This is, I think, this is not a fair way of putting things to you, because I think once you have joined as an assistant director, subsequently you also get a deputation. You go to occupy some other position in some other capacity in some other government or any other body. But I would just say that the career progression in the Indian Economic Service is very timely. It is very well regulated. The cadre controlling authority of our service is very proactive in the sense of saying that they ensure that you get your career progression moves rather systematically and everything. So one thing is definitely for sure that the career progression happens very systematically and on a timely basis. I think this is what I would like to say. Others might want to also comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Then we can go to Atun Naina. Please unmute and ask your question.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Sir, sir, can I talk in Hindi? सर मेरा क्वेश्चन यही था कि मैं यूपीएससी की तैयारी करना चाहती हूँ सर। मीडियम में दिक्कत है, कौन सा मीडियम लूँ? हिंदी तो मुझे टोटल आता ही नहीं है और इंग्लिश आता है लेकिन मैं बोल नहीं सकती और समझ नहीं सकती। क्या करूँ इसके लिए?
Okay, so medium of writing the examination and interview. Okay, so again, may I request Dr. Vikas if you are there?
Yes, I am there.
Yes, please respond to this question.
Okay, okay. See, इंडियन इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफिस एग्जाम जो है वो अंग्रेजी में लिखा जाता है as per my knowledge is concerned. Anyhow, if you want to write the exam and if you want to qualify for the exam, you need to really develop English. I don't want any kind of professional English you require. Rather, you must able to communicate in a very simple and succinct manner that is communicated well to the examiner who they are watching you, who they are examining your papers. So I don't think that you need a lot of knowledge in English, but you must learn how to communicate the economics in English. That's from my side. Thank you.
Okay. I
Okay, sir.
hope.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So thank you so much. Then we can go to Megha. Are you Megha?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. If you can introduce yourself also, that will be better. Like, where are you doing
Yes, thank you
MA
so
or?
much, sir. Yeah, my name is Aryu Megha. So I'm a resident of Cuttack. I'm currently in my first year of PhD. I recently joined my PhD in economics in Ramadevi Women's University. Uh, so I want to prepare for Indian Economic Service. As of now, I have not started my preparation yet. I have two questions for the panel. So my first question is, how much time is ideal for the preparation? As Anshuman sir has said in detail about preparation, and it has been very helpful. Thank you, sir. What is the ideal time frame? 1 year or 1.5 years or 2 years? Uh, what is the ideal time frame for that? And my second question is, even as a student of economics, it is very difficult to find a serious peer group who wants to prepare for IES examination or a peer group with the same goal. So, is there any forum for aspirants, serious aspirants to get in touch with Indian Economic Service officers like you, where we can learn first-hand insights and have a first-hand perspective of what it is within the service and how we have to prepare and hone our own skills so that we can do justice to the positions if we get in. Thank you.
Okay. May I now request Sri Anshuman Sharma to respond to this question? Please unmute and listen, please.
Duration, we can't, it's all about your preparation, how fast you are. Uh, my personal experience, like it took me 2 years, like initial 1 years I was preparing while working, and I think 1.5 years at least minimum it took me to prepare, because people I know they say it will be easier to prepare economics compared to civil services, but I think it will take time, because it will take time to understand what UPSC is asking questions and how they are thinking. It will at least take 6 to 8 months. Initial reading, though, you can complete it in 1 year, but the real the cracking the exam part, it will take next year. So I think minimum 2 years for me. And you can see there are people, they have taken 4 attempts, 5 attempts, and right now competition is increasing. It's not decreasing, because aspirants appearing for the exam is increasing. So at least it will take 2 years. And for peer group, yes, it was also a challenge for me. There I was preparing alone myself. I don't have any peer, so I was motivating myself only. So peer group, it's you can find peer group from Telegram channel and all, but still it's not for economic service. They're all for civil services. Because to be frank, I will tell you the number of aspirants applying for Indian economic services is not more than 3,000 to 4,000. But I have seen from RTA reply, and for RBI DEPR also it's around 3,000 to 4,000, because since it has a master's degree, so you can see 3,000 to 4,000 all over India applying, and how to get a peer group, it's very difficult. So So I will tell you self-motivate yourself, and you can do it. It's like more determination and consistency rather than hard work. It's more about consistency. If you read 4 5 hours daily on basis for 2 years, then you can do the exam. But point is that people don't do it for 2 years.
Right,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. It is, as you said, like very few people apply for IAS, around 3,000. So it is primarily because so few people apply that the competition is higher than IAS. I believe that the lesser people apply, the higher is the knowledge concentration in there. So it will be really helpful to have a mentor regarding the same. So
So for mentor, I can tell that I took coaching, but I will not suggest to go for coaching. The reason I took coaching was because for discipline and mentorship only. The content part, definitely books will be better because books has more content. But for that mentorship and coaching, for mentorship and guidance only, I took coaching. So for peer group, for me it was a challenge. That's why I can't answer your question because I also was wanting to get some 3 4 people around the same community sharing knowledge, so you can improvise yourself. But that was a challenge for me also. So I can't answer
yes,
how to go to peer group.
thank you, sir.
I would just like to compliment what Anshuman has already said, if I'm allowed. I think
Yes,
the thing is, Anshuman put a ballpark figure as to how much time you require to clear the exam. Uh, I mean, his experience has been like that, and I think I have personally taken more time to get into the service than Anshuman has. I took 3 attempts, so you can naturally imagine I'm not the best person to give you advice on this. But I also say that there are people who cleared the exam without having to go through the rough and tumble of life, as Anshuman and I have gone through. I think there are people who were like they were in corporate jobs and they were switching from one job to the other, and the intervening period, the notice period was all they had. And they said that, look, I'm not going to focus on my current job because anyway I'm leaving it. And until and unless the next job begins, I have some good amount of time at my hand. And in that interim period, they were able to write the exam and clear through. So I think it's about that. It's about how much in touch you have been with regard to the syllabus, how well you have studied it, how well you can pick things up. I think all of these factors actually feed into deciding how much time you will take to clear the exam.
right,
That's
sir.
first. I think also the second point, that I think there was one question that you had raised about what can you do in order to become a very good Indian Economic Service officer. I think once you join the professional sphere, uh, before we join the professional sphere, we are all students and we are just trying to hone our own knowledge and skills. Once you join the professional sphere, there is a requirement for a completely different set of skills or knowledge that you require. Now, for the time being, I would just request you that you look at this exam as an end in itself, right? Because you
Right,
should
sir.
not be thinking about what I will require to do once I have cleared the exam, right? After we
Right,
clear
sir.
the exam, there is a very elaborate system, a very elaborate, a schedule for your training, and that training gives you a very good cosmopolitan outlook. It gives you exposure to knowledge, skill, and attitude. I think three things that I definitely would like to talk about if you want to become successful in any sphere is: one is knowledge, second is skill, and third is attitude. So for the time
Right,
being,
sir.
you just need to focus on having the knowledge to clear this exam. Once you have cleared the exam, the government invests a lot in you. I think once you have gotten into the any government service, there's a lot that government invests in terms of building you up, in terms of knowledge, skill, and attitude. And in the process, you get refined not only as a person. There's a lot of personality building also that you undertake while you go for the training, particularly the Indian Economic Service training. And also government equips you with the skills and attitude that you require, sorry, the skills and knowledge that you require to become a good civil servant in your day-to-day job. So for the time being, I would just say that gather as much knowledge as possible to write the exam, gather as much as skill that is required to write the exam within the given time and physical space constraint, etc., etc. Everything else that you require to be successful after you have cleared the exam is to be taken care of by the government after you have cleared the exam. So I think this is the thing that I wanted to supplement. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. That was really insightful.
Thank you so much. Now let us go to the next question. Now may I request Shubhranshu?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shubhranshu, and I'm doing my undergraduation in economics and data science. So, actually, I'm in the second year of my bachelor. So, I don't have any questions like how to prepare and what syllabus is there. So, I have some like somehow I have a different question. So, everyone was asking what is the syllabus and what were the perks and what is the salary and all. But before that, I think we should all have an answer that before giving the exam, that why should we give the answer or why should we give the exam, or what changes should we are thinking in this service, or what changes we should make, or we think we should make for the government sector, that or the loopholes that we are thinking are there in this service. After joining, what should we change it? So why should we give the exam, or what motivated you to give the exam when you were practicing for that? So my question is that.
Okay. May I now request Dr. Vikas if you can respond to this question?
Yes, Amrendra bhai. See, you answered in your talk initially when you asked this question. So yes, it's important to understand why you want to give the exam, right? But first of all, it's a job, no doubt. It gives you good salary. It gives you good perks. It gives you good social status. At the end, it gives you the opportunity to work for yourself, to work for your country, to work for your people, to work for a lot of diversity that you talk about, and the lot of lacuna that you mentioned there is in the society. So what could be the economic response to that, if any? So first of all, you have to think in your preparation stage. Yes, definitely it will give you a job, and after that it has lots of scopes other than a single job that can give you. In my speech also I talked, so you can go earn from a company job, you can earn from private sector job, you can from other, but the kind of exposure this job provides you, it's limited in other job. So that would be my limited response.
Aparajita, would you like to respond to this question?
Yes, I just want to add one more line to this answer given by Vikas. So, like, if you'll ask me why I should join, so first of all, why someone should join the service? Like, the money matter. Like, obviously, someone wants to earn for a living. So, apart from that, like, let's say, currently, like, India was the G20 president. So what was the discussion point in that G20 meeting and all? We all seen the news. Okay, this was discussed, that was discussed. But what was the text of all those negotiation and all? So you will get an opportunity to work in those matters and different policy matters. Say for example, uh, let's talk for the financial sector reform. Like I did the financial sector reform and legislation. So the different kind of bill which you see it's being discussed in parliament. So all the MPs they are like they are discussing the when they discuss the bill, but there is the language of the bill. So you get opportunity to work in all those policy matters. So isn't it it's like at a macro level you contribute to the policy making of the nation. So at the end, like your final motto should be the like the people of your country should get benefit from your knowledge. So I think this is the very basic motto of someone like
Of course, yeah, I will be getting opportunities after I clear the exam. But before that, if I'm willing to give Indian Administrative Service or Indian Police Service, then I am willing that I should change the decision making, the time period of the decision making of the government employees. Like 10 years back, someone is like, now if someone is in their some position, but he has not been promoted for last 10 years or last 15 years, the decision making, the time period of the decision making is very slow there. So I want to change that, particularly in the government sector. So I'm asking that before the examination, what changes were in your mind that yes, I should change this particularly this loophole in this government sector? Of course, I
okay.
will be getting opportunities after the examination or after I clear the examination. I'm getting that, but before the examination, I should know the perspective of joining this service. Like how will the government sector will be benefited from my decision making powers, or how will I contribute to this service?
Okay, so let's take an example. Say now everyone is talking about digitalization, right? So you are, I totally understand. It's totally depend on the personal choice whether you want to join this service or that service, whether you want to be posted on field or you want to be posted in center. Like Indian Economic Service, like 85 to 90% officers are posted in center, and I think 10% officers are posted in states also. So in your case, if you want to be like this service is basically only contribution to the policy making. So isn't it like for a development of a country, policy making as well as implementation, both are needed. So in case of like digitalization, someone needs to regulate all those like the digital, like all the fintech industries and all. So all the regulations. So you will be part of policy making at the macro level. So obviously that will get escalated to the lower. I think
Yeah, I would like to add what Aprajita said. See, if you like to join IAS or IPS, suppose why people want to join in IPS, they when they face humiliation in society, they feel that yes, they want to change the the police system and all other things. So in Indian Economic Service, if you have a perspective towards different diversity, different poor people, people under depression, people under a lot of economic depression and all. So that before joining the service, lot of things there in mind. So definitely, if you want, you can join IAS, you can join IPS, or if you are a sincere or very benevolent student of economics and you love economics, then this job is for you. If not, you have the freedom to join any other service of your choice and of your thought.
Okay,
After
if I
the
just
seniors of mine have spoken so eloquently, I would just like to add my own take on this. I think Subhranshu has raised a very basic and a very elemental question, which actually drives you through a lot of the trials and tribulations. So just because you've cleared the exam doesn't mean that you are always upbeat and very happy about having joined the service. From time to time, you go to places, you take up assignments in the service which you are not very happy about, or you are not very happy on a regular basis about. But I think Subhranshu's question is more elemental in the sense that if you have that answer, that motivation can stay with you, can take you through all ups and downs. To that end, I would just like to share with all of you my perspective on the issue. When I was a student of economics at Delhi School of Economics, one of my professors there was Professor Ram Singh, who currently is the director of the Delhi School of Economics. I'm sure many of you who read the newspapers on a regular basis must have seen so many of Professor Singh's articles being written. In fact, very recently he wrote an article on reform of the civil service. So he said a very basic and a very sincere thing, which has stayed with me for all these years. He said that, look, after the economic liberalization moves of the 1990s, India has moved from a scenario when the public sector was the provider of all things to a scenario where the public sector is facilitating and regulating. Now, one of the aspects that has changed over a period of time is that instead of directly providing services to the citizens, public sector is actually using the efficiency of the private sector to provide these services. Whether you talk of infrastructure, whether you talk of highways, you talk of airports, or even supply of water and electricity to our homes, a lot of this is based on private sector provisioning of what are essentially public goods. Now, when you are doing this, one of the important things in this transaction is the writing of the contract. What is the service standard? Who is to ensure that the quality of the service is of a particular order? Something goes wrong. Something goes wrong. Let's say pandemic hits and no one had imagined about that. How are we supposed to ensure that the quality of service does not suffer to a great extent and people are not suffering to a very large extent? All of this is contingent on the government's ability to write a proper contract. And I'm sure many of my colleagues in the service who have joined me today would agree with me that even today, when we are doing our jobs, we're going about our jobs, a lot of emphasis in our own capacity building is emphasized on how can we write a good contract. And I think the services that Subhranshu has named, like the IAS or the IPS, with greatest possible respect for them, and in fact, many of my friends are in those services, and many of the people who are serving in those services are my friends. I would say that in the initial years of their career, they do not have the ability to impact things on this scale. How can we write a proper contract? How can we, in general, improve the way government contracts certain items to the private sector, etc., etc. So I think that is one of the very important motivations that has stayed with me. And everything I do, I try to remember this: that are we able to do justice in taking decisions, in handing out contracts to the private sector, or anything that we do? Are we able to do justice? Or, in other words, do we remember Mahatma Gandhiji's talisman while we go about our jobs? I think that is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope this answers to Subhranshu's bigger question. And if I just put it in a lighter way, like after watching Surplus movie, a lot of people wanted to become IPS officers. We probably need another movie on Indian Economic Service officers. Okay. And okay, but again, coming to the point, yeah, like of course, all people actually, because Aparajita and Anshuman, they all have told like what is the importance of the service. And in one sentence, I would say that for good policy making, see, the society is becoming very complex. So we need, very good, smart officers to make smart policies, because these officers are giving inputs to the policymakers. So for smart policy making, we need smart inputs. And similarly for the implementation also, we need smart officers who can understand the rules and regulations and the changing context of the society and the economy at national and international level, and execute those policies in a smart way. So that's how, in a nutshell, I would say. So Indian Economic Service provides those opportunities where wherever actually the economy comes, actually these officers actually can help actually. Okay, so then we'll go to Shiva Prasad. Yeah, so Shiva Prasad, you can unmute. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hello, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
I have a question that is the GS paper syllabus of other examination conducted by the UPSC like IAS, IFS, IAS is equal to the GS paper of the IES or Indian Economic Services?
I don't know whether you could understand the question. Maybe Anshuman Sharma, can you respond to this question? If you could.
No, the question the question in civil services is more analytical and critical. So basically, they ask ki critically analyze all those questions. And GS paper in Indian Economic Service is not that much difficult, and also it's only 5 marks, and you have to answer in 100 or 200 words. I don't remember the exact words. So you just have to write point wise all those answer, and it is not exactly equal to civil services, but you can, yes, it will be helpful if you can see some past paper of GS in civil services examination. But topics are same. Topics will be same more or less. History you have to read ancient, medieval, modern history. Geography also you need to read Indian geography, world geography. But geography they don't ask, so generally people skip it. And polity also more or less you have to study everything. So it's very difficult to read for 100 marks and cover all those topics until unless you are preparing for civil services. Thank you.
Okay,
Hope
sir,
that
thank you.
answers to Shiva's question.
Sir, I have
So then
another
we'll go
question.
to. Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, please briefly tell about how to prepare for the PI round and for the last round if we are selected for that.
I didn't prepare as such for PI round. It's basically you have to know your DAF properly. So they're very friendly. The chairman and all those things, they are very friendly. They will make you comfortable. They will ask you to take your time to answer anything. Don't answer suddenly. You can take your time and answer very politely. So the atmosphere is very cordial. So you will not feel any nervous. Initially, I was very nervous, but after I went inside and they make you comfortable, it's not a question answer interview. It's like a discussion. It's your personality test. So they will briefly discuss with you and they will ask your opinion. Rather in RBI DPR, well, I gave in RBI DPR interview. It's like interview. They were asking what is heteroscedasticity, what is multicollinearity, what is ARIMA, how you can use GARCH in stock market. All those questions I have faced because I told them ki I like econometrics. So they asked me all those questions in econometrics from time series to violation of OLS law, all those things. Even also they asked me about questions from panel data, but not in economic service. They will not ask like that because they don't have that panel. They obviously one professor, external professor is there in the panel, but I have seen they don't ask that difficult technical questions in economics from econometrics or microeconomics like consumer theory. They will ask from game theory. All those questions they will definitely not ask because in Indian economic service the job profile is completely different. It's like more or less mix of bureaucracy and economics. But RBI DPR is more into technical side, so they will ask technical questions. So as such, there is no preparation strategy. You should know your DAF and be honest to yourself. That's it. That will suffice. And marks range also will see na, they will generally they have given from 110 to 150 in our batch. In exception, some people get below 100, but more or less you'll get 120, 130. If you are very good you have very good interview, then you can get 150, 160 marks out of 200. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for the
Okay, thank you so
information.
much. Now, Archana Bhardwaj, please unmute. You can introduce yourself and then ask a question.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Archana Bhardwaj, and I have done my master's from Central University of Rajasthan in 2021. So, 21 में जैसे ही मास्टर्स कंप्लीट हुई, I was appearing for PhD. So PhD के लिए मैंने काफ़ी जगह ट्राई किया था एंड 21 से 22 तक मैंने ट्राई किया, बट मेरा PhD में हो नहीं पाया था. देन इन 2023 I was applying here and there for research assistant और लकीली मेरा JNU में एक फैकल्टी के अंडर एज अ रिसर्च असिस्टेंट काम करने का मौका मिला. So for 23 to 24, I was working there as research assistant. So अभी सर मैं घर पर आई हूँ. So when I completed my masters, I was thinking कि मैं economic services के लिए attempt दूंगी. और एक ये भी था कि आरबीआई के लिए भी अटेम्प्ट दूंगी, बट एज अ आरए काम करते करते और पीएचडी के लिए प्रिपेयर करते हुए मेरे पास वक्त नहीं मिला कि मैं कुछ भी दोनों में से किसी भी चीज के लिए तैयारी कर पाऊँ. सो नाउ आई एम ट्राइंग कि अब मैं शुरू कर दूं तैयारी, बट एट दिस पॉइंट आई एम 26 already. So, like in February, I celebrated my 26th birthday. So the age factor मुझे काफी डरा रहा है कि मतलब I have to find a cutoff point ना at this point. I'm 26, so I should go for RPI and economic services. मैं दोनों तो नहीं कर सकती. So please guide me कि मैं क्या करूँ. As a research assistant, I have 7.5 months experience. So I have to find a cutoff point and like find a direction. So that is why I was attending this session. So please guide me. मतलब इस I'm 26 और इस point पे सब like अंशुमन sir have joined as economic services officer. But I'm starting to prepare for it. So there is a huge difference, and the age limit is 30. I come from general category, so मेरे लिए 30 age limit है. So I have to find a cutoff point. किस चीज के लिए मुझे तैयारी करनी है? Sir, please guide me for it.
Okay, thank you, Archana. So maybe I'll request Aparajita to respond to this question.
I think UPSC has set the age limit as 30. So obviously you have quite 4 years of time period with you, and I think 4 years is enough if you start today. So don't get decent and okay ठीक है by that age period. Many of like this service, there are some people who joined after 22 23. There are some people who also joined around their 30s. So it's never too late. I think you should, if you really want to prepare for the service, then you should go ahead. And it's not an issue at all. I have many colleagues who have joined in their 30s also. So wish you all the best. Don't worry, just start preparing. Who knows, you will crack it in your very first attempt. So in 27 you will be able to join the service. You never know.
मैम एक चीज और है, क्योंकि सिलेबस जो है काफी फास्ट होता है तो उसको कवर करने में 1 साल लग जाता है. सो मतलब अगर मैं अभी शुरू कर रही हूँ शायद 27 या 8 तक मैं सिलेबस कंप्लीट कर पाऊंगी. सो थोड़ा सा बस मैम आप प्लीज अगर बता दें.
Listen, I'll
कम से
suggest,
कम साथ देना होगा ना मैम.
obviously it's advisable कि before going for any exam syllabus complete होना चाहिए, but it's not like anyways you have 4 years in your hand. Even if you will not give this attempt, तो attempt तो anyways वो चला ही जाएगा. So isn't it better कि whatever preparation you have, just for your experience, कि let's see how much with your preconceived knowledge, like you never know कि हो सकता है कि the part of syllabus you have left, there is a chance कि वो topic से question ही ना आए. So you never know, right? Look, so I mean, it's advisable कि you just go and write the exam, but be disciplined. Like I think 5 to 6 hours per day will be enough for you. And I'm just saying from my experience, like even if you are like you are working as RA and all, so I totally understand कि with work experience, like with work-life balance थोड़ा सा मुश्किल होता है, but just try to find out at least 4 to 5 years will be enough.
अर्चना, डर के आगे जीत है, तो जी जान लगा के तैयारी करो. ऑल द बेस्ट. सो नाउ मैं रिक्वेस्ट सविता बेहरा.
A very good evening to one present here. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me the opportunity to ask the question. And myself, Sabita Behera. I am a full-time state government employee. And my question is to ask that nowadays UPSC want to know, and I have seen the last 2 to 3 year questions even, and the more practical questions, more numerical questions are there. Give the opinion on the economic situations. Like I want to just know how to give the answers to the more practical, even more numerical. Numerical you can practice more, but more practical questions in the economics phenomenon nowadays. Thank you, sir.
Suman, Camilla, would you respond to this question?
Yes. So I think when we talk of practical questions, it's the choice of picking sides. I think that is what concerns you the most. I understand that there is a skepticism on your part to which side would you favor when you are writing this answer. I would advise that to begin with, don't. So there are questions which are very loaded. That suppose they say that there are two sides to the debate and they'll only present one side, saying that many evaluate the pros of this particular side of the debate. I think instead of falling into what I would call that as a trap, I think what they're trying to tell you is that, look, we want you to focus on this. But I would say that if you, I mean, I think again, this also comes if you do a lot of the past year questions and if you do a lot of writing practice, that you need to understand what is exactly the core issue of the question that is being asked. So suppose they ask you to evaluate the effectiveness or the effectiveness of the farm sector bills that India had legislated but subsequently had to be withdrawn. Now, instead of saying that, look, this was a very good reform because so many good things were to be ushered in through this legislation, and all these farmer protests were all ruckus. They had absolutely no point, and therefore, yes, India should go for the farm sector legislation. I think that is not the right way of going about it, because see, you are ultimately aspiring to a service where you are supposed to be cool headed and balance minded, right? So first of all, appreciate the right core issue. First you appreciate the core issue. What is it exactly that we want to address? I think what we want to address the fact that the workforce in agriculture is a lot compared to the share of the economic pie that agriculture contributes. And if I'm not wrong, I would say when you say that farm sector legislation is essentially wanted to enhance the size of the pie that the economic that agriculture sector promotes. So first of all, appreciate what is the issue at hand, and before you take the bait, you fall into that trap that the question has laid for you. Evaluate both sides of the story and say, put the whole thing in context. Tell the audience that, look, this thing needs to be addressed in this context. That India at the national level has the economic priority that people should have equitable incomes, and we cannot have equitable incomes until and unless we move people out of agriculture or we boost the income in the agriculture sector, right? Then you go on to address what is the question that has been asked, and that way I think it is a more balanced view. So my suggestion to you is, in a nutshell, is don't fall for questions which ask you to take stand on very political questions or political or very sensational and sensitive issues. Be a more balanced person while you are attempting these questions.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Then we'll go to Yashoda Kumari.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, I am Yashoda Kumari, and currently I have completed my bachelor's in economics from Ravinsha University. And my question is for Anshuman Kamila, sir. Uh, Actually, as mentioned earlier by Miss Nandita Mishra, ma'am, that apart from IES, Indian Economic Services, other services are also there like business economist, academic researcher, professor, PSCs, and many more. So my question is, while preparing for Indian Economic Services, should we just only focus on the preparation, or along with the preparation, should we explore more in these other services?
Thank you for that question. I would just say that the Indian Economic Service syllabus is very well steeped in the various aspects of economics. And while you are studying all these aspects, it is bound to be the case that if you take interest in contemporary issues, you will generate interest and you will start taking active interest in contemporary things. That if you read something in the newspaper, you will automatically go to some textbook or some reference text that you have read in the past and in the process of your preparation, and that way you become a more informed and a more engaged individual with respect to economics. And obviously, I think all of these exams, I'm sure that all of us know the truth, the reality about government jobs in India. So I think it is never a good idea to focus exclusively on one exam or particularly one profession. It's always good to, again, economics teaches you not to put all your eggs in one basket. So please diversify. But what I'll say is, while you're preparing for the Indian Economic Service exam, because of the various topics you cover, you automatically prepare for other things also. Like Ansuman has also already mentioned the RBI DEPR exam. So you automatically train yourself for that exam as well. And I'm sure there will be other exams which I'm not aware of, but others might be better able to say. So, I mean, prepare with the view to know your subject better, know your knowledge and develop your skills better, but don't fixate yourself with one particular examination. I think that is the essence of the message that Nandita ma'am had given at the beginning of the session, and I fully endorse that view.
Another question I want to ask is how can I work on my speaking and writing skill? As you mentioned, writing skill is the thing that matters in the exam, IES exam. So how can I improve it? And other is speaking skill. It very much matters on in interview. So how can I work on it?
So if this was for me, I would just say that practice makes one perfect. So as much as possible, try and speak about economics issues, debate economic issues with your friends. You're having dinner or having lunch with your friends or anyone, just start talking about something related to economics. Let them put forth their point of view and you put forth your point of view. I think that is the only suggestion I would like to give. Today, we are in an era of information explosion. Let us try and focus our energies on making it a knowledge based explosion. So let us be able to collate and process so much information that is around us into making it more knowledge and communicating amongst ourselves in terms of insights instead of just bits and pieces of information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, Silpika Maharana.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am Shilpika Maharana, working as a lecturer in economics at Department of Economics, Nimapur Autonomous College. Sir, my question to Ansuman sir, sir has already mentioned that in this examination, writing practice is the cornerstone of this exam. And as from an examiner point of view, sir, should we only and give emphasis on newspaper reading so as to put the fact and figure to make it more prominent, or should we rely on any other reports such as Ansuman Sir has told ki RBI report and all such reports from ministry or the ministries. So, sir, in one time, how all these things to be considered and what should be the best way to tackle this out? At the same time, econometrics point of view, sir, in last year question, econometrics questions are very difficult. It was very difficult to attain. So, sir, could you please enlighten us with the answer writing of such papers like Indian economy and the dynamic paper like public finance and econometrics? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Ansuna, Camilla, please respond.
So I think this is a question better answered by Ansuman Sharma because there were references to the more recent times. But before I hand it over to him, I'll just say that I agree with you that there are a lot of reports that are being published. So I think in some senses we have moved from the information explosion to knowledge explosion. So it's difficult to keep a tab on many reports that these are that are being released. But if you just go through the newspaper, you will find that there are some reports which are very important and they continue to have the relevance for the entire, let's say, several years to come. So Anshuman in his address talked about the Finance Commission report of 15th Finance Commission. Now you can be reasonably assured that for the till the time the 16th Finance Commission actually makes its recommendations clear, the 15th Finance Commission report is something that is going to stay, that is going to be relevant, that is going to have its currency. Similarly, if you talk of, there is a portion about federal finance in the Indian economics section of the Indian Economic Service exam syllabus. You can be reasonably sure that at least for the next 1 year or even some more years to come, the RBI's report on state finances, which dealt heavily with the state of municipality finances in India, is going to be one of the go-to reports for all times to come. I think over a period of time, you will get a hang of which are the reports which are being issued by reputed and government accredited agencies. So tomorrow, if you, let's say, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, without any, without any bias against them, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch comes out with a report saying that India is poised to do this, that, etc., etc. Now, that is not something that is of a great relevance to you from the perspective of this exam, right? But suppose the RBI comes up with a report saying that as there has been a rise in the loans of Indian banks, there is going to be a rise in concentration of risks. Now that is going to be a report of more relevance to you. So as you go forward, if you analyze the past year papers and if you look at the newspapers, you will find that there are some reports which have more relevance. And I think this is again something that you will do based on your experience. As Amrendra sir also pointed out, there cannot be one size fits all. So I cannot always say that all RBI reports are important and all Bank of America, Merrill Lynch reports are unimportant. That's certainly not the case. So you'll have to make a informed and conscious choice in which reports you quote. And obviously, it's not that you only read these reports. A lot of these report summaries are presented in newspaper articles or editorials. I think that is one way in which you can quickly get the insights of these reports without necessarily delving deep into these reports. I think Anshuman made a very important and a very vital point that there is absolutely no book that you need to study from cover to cover for this purpose, for the purpose of this exam. So be selective, be discretionary in your choice of references. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Then may I request Vishwa to unmute and ask question. Yes, Vishwa, please introduce yourself and ask your question. You are not audible, Vishwa. In that case, may I request is it Bandapadhyay Das? If you are there, please unmute and ask.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Bandapadhyay, have you joined from two devices? If so, please exit from one device and then ask your question. I muted you, so you can now unmute. But first of all, you exit from one device if you have joined from two devices. Maybe we can again come back to Vishwa if Vishwa is ready.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, please go ahead. Yes.
Sir, I'm a student from School of Economics, University of Hyderabad. So, my questions are like three. First is, what are the perks and benefits officer receive? And secondly, while attending the English question, like last year I attended the Indian Economic Service. So how to attend the essay questions like nature, nurtures and nurtured, then like human rights, vis-a-vis human rights, such kind of essays questions are coming in the English part. So it was very difficult for me to like attend that question, and also that idioms and phrases, and that one where they give to make sentence out of it. So it was very difficult for me to address that. So can you please enlighten me in this regard? Thank you so much.
Okay, I don't know whether it was audible to our panelists. May I now request Dr. Vikas if you could hear the question? It was a bit
No, I did not
noisy.
understand the question. If you could just explain to me.
Yeah, Bandapala, could you please message, you type actually, your question, because it was too noisy from your side. So you can type your question in the chat box. Yeah. So meanwhile, you can go to.
Okay, sir. See you, sir.
The first question, I think he's asking about the perks of the Indian Economic Service. Am I right?
Okay, yeah.
So Fox is like, see, the entry level group A officers salary, as you know, as per the 7th pay commission you get, and as all other panelists they have mentioned, you get timely promotion. So with promotions, your pay scale goes up, and accordingly your Fox also goes up. So I don't think it's similar to all other central services. I think there are some differences in perks in regard to all India services, but it's almost similar. So perks wise, it's par with all India service and central services. Second question, I did not get what she intended.
So my question, second question was like the type of question it is coming in the English part. So in the English there are essays, paragraph writing on the topics like life is what we make it, nothing sustains a person, like self belief, kind of such one line essay was there. So how to write such kind of essays? And secondly, there were words that I heard for the first time in the exam. So like saw for the first time in the exam. So such kind of words and even the idioms and the phrases. So regarding that, like how to prepare.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we got your question. Now may I request Anshuman Sharma, the type of questions that comes in English, it's a type descriptive. So maybe Anshuman Sharma can respond to this. I think we are going too long. Are you there, Anshuman?
Yeah, I'll just add if he's not
please.
there.
Yes, please respond. Yes.
See, in English also, though I have also, it's 10 years for me in the service, though new people actually could give a better answer. But simply you can actually practice a lot. So similar kind of previous question, you take the previous questions and see how the essays are coming, and how there are multiple notes and multiple guidance available both in online and offline mode. You take any standard material from there, and you get practice. So English is all about logically or practically communicating properly about the topic. So that's for me. I think I can suggest to practice a lot, and to uh, go with examples, and in essay writing examples, your various kind of data information you can always add, and you can make it a logical um, you know you can make it logical actually. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So now, Vishwa, if you are now ready, you can ask your question. No, you are not audible, Vishwa. Maybe you can type your question in the chat box, and then we can go to Smruti Mai Maji.
Yes, hello sir, good evening. Good evening all. I am Smruti Mathi, currently pursuing PhD at University of Hyderabad. Sir, my question is, as an IAS officer, you have multiple jobs like to do research and sometimes to do policy makings and policy execution formulation. My question is, what particular kind of job you do there? And those who are making research, are they the same person who do policy making and like that?
Okay. Okay, who is going to answer this question? Maybe Vikas, could you please respond?
Yes, yes. See, the job are multifaceted. So, as through examples I have mentioned you. So, you get lot of opportunities to work. For example, I mentioned about my job profile when I went to labor ministry. So, I worked in wages cell. So, in wage cell, I got lot of information about wages and how the Indian wage system is working. And after that, I went to international labor. Then I worked on this other administrative, like EPFO, ESIC, and all other kind of departments. I got the exposure. So there you must have the research information in you, and the practical work you need to do with this information. So so let me explain, like you get to work in such a way that the research gets into converted into practicality. So sometimes in academic, if I can just give some example, so you just come out with some research output. So in government you need actionable points. See, through your research, what are the actionable points that could actually be implemented. So this is my limited point. If Anshuman Kamila could answer something on this.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this to the opportunity to answer this question. I think there is a slight bit of difference when we say whether researchers become policymakers. I think the straight answer is no, because policymakers not only have to contend with the fact that there are going to be some loopholes in the policy that we adopt, which have to be addressed not only at the not at the policy level but implementation level. But it's also important to remember that without good research there cannot be good policy, right? And also to be able to separate good research from research in general, one needs to have at the helm of affairs a good set of researchers who are also able to make policy. And I think that is the role that Indian Economic Service officers are supposed to play, and they have played so far in the government, and they continue to play on a regular basis. So yeah, if you are a good researcher, you should definitely vie for the Indian Economic Service. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. The question that Vishwa was trying to ask is he is going to complete MA next year, and whether he can appear for the IES exam next year before getting his annual degree certificate. So maybe Anshuman Sharma or Kamila, both, anyone can answer this question. I think you need MA completion, right? You need a certificate, completion certificate.
I think the certificate need not have been issued at the time when you are writing the exam, because I am aware of some of my friends who attempted the exam right after they have finished writing the MA exams. But this is my heuristic response, my hand waving response. I don't have evidence to support my answer. So I'll just request Vishwa to please look at the notification. The notification is very clear. Who are the people who are eligible to write the exam, whether in terms of the fact that you need to have the degree in hand or not. So I think that will be the last word, and what I say will not be as material as what the notification says. So please read the notification carefully. It is a fairly elaborate and well structured notification which will answer all your queries. Thank you.
Okay, I think this will be the last question by Shivani Giri, because I have already taken so much of time of the panelists. I had told them only after 7 o'clock, but it's already 7:30. So the last question will be by Shivani Giri.
Good evening, sir. My name is Shivani, and now I'm pursuing my post-graduation degree in Ramadevi Women's University, Bhubaneswar. Sir, basically my education profile is totally based on Odisha's education system. My question to Anshuman sir, that is it necessary to follow the syllabus of Delhi School of Economics before the preparation of the examination of IAS exam?
Very straight and I think very simple answer I'd like to give. No, the Delhi School examination, the Delhi School pattern of syllabus has nothing to do with the Indian Economic Service syllabus. The Indian Economic Service syllabus, as I mentioned in my earlier remarks, is very elaborate, very
Sir,
straightforward,
actually,
and very
one of
detailed. I think
sir, actually, one of my friends said that the Indian Economic Service examinations question is basically done by the professor of Delhi School of Economics, and the mark is also given by the Delhi School of Economics professors. That's why I'm asking you the
Shubhani,
question.
I think okay. Let me put it this way. Shubhani, there are certain things that are out in the public domain, and certain things that are not revealed in the public domain, right? So let us, for the purpose of this session, focus on things that are out in the public domain, and any kind of hearsay, conjecture, or rumor, etc., or whispers in the corridors. Let us not go by that. As of now, let us just say that Union Public Service Commission conducts the Indian Economic Service exam in a very transparent and a very professional manner. The syllabus is well detailed, and I have already mentioned in the beginning that the syllabus of economics in Odisha has already been upgraded or modified to suit the requirements that have been set forth in the Indian Economic Service exam syllabus. So I think let us leave it at that, and let us not get into the hearsay, conjecture, or whispers that it is only Delhi school people who can write the exam and can clear the exam because their professor said the question. I think there is no useful information or useful insight that we can derive from these whispers. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
In fact, just to respond to this question, I should tell you that in the original panel we had Dr. Pragyasmita Sahu, who is a product of Utkal University. He was gold medalist of economics, analytical and applied economics, Utkal University, and I know that she prepared her IAS exam staying in Bhubaneswar, and she cleared. Nandita ma'am is also an alumnus of Utkal University, Analytical and Applied Economics Department, Utkal University. Aparajita Priyadarshini, who is also here, she is also a student of Utkal University. So, no, of course, Anshuman is a product of Delhi School, and Anshuman Sharma is a product of ISI Delhi. But you should also see the other examples that we have said here, right? Out of the 6 panelists, we have of course, Pragyasmita Sahu is not here today, but we have 3 panelists who are from Utkal University. So it's not that actually only from Delhi School or from JNU. That's what Anshuman and Kamila started with those questions actually that the myth actually he was trying to bust. So don't actually think that way. Prepare yourself, and I think our syllabus is updated enough, and so if you put your best efforts, you can also clear IAS. So with that note, now I
Thank you, sir.
request the president of Odisha Economic Association, Professor Abhinandan Apather, to give his concluding remarks.
Thank you, Amarendra. Thank you, all the resource persons who have spared their valuable time in counseling our aspirants. I also thank the participants. Actually, a lot of things were clarified in this discussion that we had for more than 2.5 hours, close to 3 hours. The first thing is that it came out that IES officers have a kind of job satisfaction. They read economics and they are applying economics. So that is one thing that has come up. The second thing is what Vikas told, that in order to make a policy for poverty eradication or for, say, how to overcome hunger, you must feel how a hungry people feels or how the hungry people think. So that is what is necessary. So you have to be immersed in the issue. Then only you can come out with good policy suggestions. Aparajita was very kind. She gave a list of references, and so also Anshuman Sharma. But the things that were clear were like this: that mathematics, econometrics, it was thought. It is thought also. The students of economics and teachers of economics who do not know mathematical economics or econometrics, they are simply grass cutters. ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ କହୁଛୁ ଘାସ କଟାଳି ସେମାନେ କିଛି ଜାଣନ୍ତିନି economics. It is not like that. That is a deficiency definitely. If you do not know econometrics and mathematical economics, that is a deficiency with you. But it doesn't mean that you are totally useless. Basic economics is more important. So you have to be strong in basic economics. That has come out also. And you have to think of diversified consultation. You have to read. You have to allocate your time very judiciously. You have to make a writing practice, and all these are important for the aspirants. And one more thing is that it is imprinted in the minds of many that unless you go to Delhi, you cannot clear any, say, all India examination. As if everything is outsourced to Delhi, everything is outsourced to Delhi School of Economics, or like that. It is not like that. So staying at Odisha, staying at Bhubaneswar, you can do it. So it requires sincerity of purpose. It requires passion for reading. It requires how much you are bothered, how much you are serious about your say the things that you want to pursue. Now, it pains me that we had got about 600 registrations for today's council. But actually, around 120 joined. And by the time we are closing, you see how many are there. So there is a need of a sincerity of a purpose. You must be very sincere about what you want to do or what you like to be. So that is important. Actually, I shall be very happy that the participants will be gaining much. They have definitely gained from today's discussions. And it was really a very lively session. And I shall be very happy if the resource persons, counselors, the experienced IES officers who have joined today for counseling can be a part of the Odisha Economic Association to strengthen it academically. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. No, I know that actually some of them are already our life members of Odisha Economic Association, and I'm sure actually others will also join with us if they find it useful. But okay, I would like to thank all the panelists who joined with us, and they see on a Sunday evening they stayed connected with us for almost 3 hours. Okay? So starting from Nandita Ma'am to Dr. Vikas and Srimati Aparajita, then Anshuman Kamila, Anshuman Sharma. No, we have no words actually, to thank you. So you have taken interest and you have shared all your say ideas or provided inputs to all the aspirants of Indian Economic Service. And coming to the participants who joined with us, for them I will tell that, of course, I know that like what Ravi sir was telling, that we got some 570 registrations or so, and at the end we have this much. And in fact, that is the reality. We know that similarly, if you look at the 3,000 people who write the examination, many of them would not be also preparing seriously. So I know the people who have prepared seriously have qualified. Okay? Because I have seen, at least I have seen Anshuman, Kamila, I have seen Aparajita, my friend Pragya Smithasa, who could not join with us today. I know actually, they have put their very sincere effort, and they have that sort of, like, although doesn't matter actually whether it is a second attempt or third attempt. Jo jita hoy sikandar. All is well that ends well. So if you put a best effort, you will definitely get it. So I would like to thank all the panelists and all the participants who joined with us this evening. And we'll upload this recording on the YouTube channel of Odisha Economic Association. You can definitely watch. You can share this with other participants. And if you feel that it was useful for you, we may conduct such programs in future if our panelists agree. And yeah, so since we have all the email IDs, we'll be in touch with you. You can express your willingness if you require another session on specific things. What else actually you need? We discussed quite a lot of issues. If you need specific clarifications or specific issues to be addressed in details, we can have another round of session. So with that, I would like to conclude this meeting. Thank you so much.